Greetings, folks. The title of this video was written after a certain exchange. It's very subtle, isn't it? I'll explain it later. Trust me, by the end of this video, I guarantee you will find yourself in agreement with the statement. So I'm flying in blind here because one of my subs sent me this and asked me to do a video on it. And I will oblige because I'm such a nice guy. It's all me, and not because it was put to a poll and this was the top answer. Not even a little. And if you believe that, you're probably more demented than the man lopping as the President of the United States. Oh, and speaking of Biden, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but a few days ago, him and Trump had a debate.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if...
Needless to say, it did not go very well for the former. As a consequence, a moment of sobriety and then massive vats of copium followed, a trajectory that everyone with functioning eyes could see. Well, unless of course you're a Democrat or a short-fat Canadian. And so this video is from someone called Misterdeity. Find your inner Republican debate response. He has more than twice my subs and yet less than 7,000 views on this video. Let's see if we can best his numbers, shall we? I know nothing about this chap, never heard of him before. I think he was a Mormon at one point, and then he wrote a book called The Atheist Fundamentalist. So presumably he saw Romney on stage in the early 2010s and decided to become even more cringe. What a ride this video is shaping up to be. Let's see where this goes. I have no clue what I'm in for here.
Okay, so now that we've all seen what Joe Biden looks like...
Holy sweet mother of God, the Colonel became a hippie. Bloody hell, not even KFC is immune from this vegan cringe.
When he first gets up in the morning, completely disoriented, unable to speak, and waking from a dream where he and Obama were in a cage match with Medicare. Now that we've heard the Democratic intelligentsia weeping and wailing and gnashing their teeth, looking to throw Joe Biden under the bus.
That they should have done friggin' years ago, or never even selected him in the first place. Let's be honest, he was selected because he's mentally compromised. He was to have an empty suit they can puppet, and now through too much greed of having their cake and eating it too, they're in this situation. Fun times ahead.
I'm here to say shame on you, if that's what you're thinking.
No, I want him to be the nominee, for obvious reasons. Well, that and having one less by, I should probably not finish that joke.
My fellow lovers of democracy, the rule of law, and basic human decency.
Pick 2 out of 3 because the first one has seen the erosion of the latter. Try reading some history and political theory for once. People like this debunk the notion that age brings wisdom and experience, or that experience is even good. Case in point, this guy.
We have got to get our shiitake mushrooms together. In October of 2016, just 1 month before the election, a recording of Donald Trump bragging about being a serial sexual assaulter blasted its way into the news. Initially, there was some hand-wringing by fellow Republicans. Some even withdrew their endorsements and called on him to leave the race. Is that what he did? No. He wrote it out, ultimately winning back the people who came at him knives out, along with the election. With the help of Vladimir Putin and WikiLeaks, of course.
Is that meant to be satirical or serious? I can't actually tell with these people anymore. I know the people who spin the narrative can't be doped up with their own bollocks, but then these types? You could be talking to ideological drug addicts for all you know.
So, with that in mind, I'm going to ask you to do something I couldn't have even imagined just days ago. I want you to take a search party into the depths of your soul and dig down deep to find...
They have souls? Since when?
Your inner Republican. Here's what I mean. I want you to stop caring about anything other than keeping Joe Biden in the White House and picking up even more seats in the House and Senate.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going to go. 10Quid says he gives no functional reason as to why, other than Trump is the reincarnation of an Austrian painter.
You know, if Trump had an equally bad night on the debate stage, Republicans and Fox News would be saying that his closing argument actually cured cancer in all its various forms and ended world hunger.
No, they wouldn't. They would call for him to step down immediately because the establishment does not like him either. What boomer-ass world do you live in?
Yes. Joe Biden committed the cardinal sin of American politics. He was bad on TV.
Dude, he's been bad on TV since the Obama administration. You only recognize it now since the contrast with Trump is so stark. Even you drug-addicted wankers can't not notice it.
Really, really bad. But how many times have you heard Joe brag about robbing women of the constitutional right guaranteeing their bodily sovereignty?
Well, I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
That's 51% of the population, who now in many states have to be bleeding out in the waiting room before they can get the basic life-saving health care they need.
Oh, nice cherry picking there. Now tell us, what percentage of abortion procedures are elective as opposed to medically necessary? There's a reason why they never tell us and lead with this freedom of bodily autonomy crap, which totally goes out the window when it comes to certain other circumstances, because the numbers would undermine their argument and make them look quite psychotic and like they favor promiscuity.
Even if you've said bad things about Joe's performance.
I did, and I will continue to do so because unlike Abe Lincoln, I actually don't lie.
If you've suggested he needs to go, it's time for a 180 like your Mitch or Kevin or Elise or Lindsay.
All terrible people, mind you.
If they can stomach it, so can you. We can't make the systemic changes this country needs when their guy can shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, grab the kitty, and illegally pay off a porn star.
He actually hasn't done any of that stuff. You do realize that, right?
While our guy can't even be bad on TV for 90 minutes.
I'm looking pretty good on that he will say nothing of substance assertion, aren't I? Making systemic changes this country needs, like what exactly? That doesn't mean anything. It's vacuous fluff, political sloganeering, hollow, like Kamala Harris's head. I was gonna say something else there, you can probably guess what. Well, hollow now, not prior. How else do you think she rose through the political ranks? It certainly wasn't through shrewd political maneuvering, I'll tell you that much. Well, perhaps maneuvering of a different kind.
I know MAGA has made loyalty a dirty word.
No, you made loyalty a dirty word in your dim-witted circle by associating it with Trump. Loyalty to that is your problem, not ours.
But that's blind loyalty.
Whereas your loyalty to a fossilized octogenarian puppet is based on keeping the orange man out of office because it would be better. Why?
We don't have to close our eyes.
No, your problem is you've opened them like 4 months away from an election and your guy can't even complete a sentence of his own volition without potentially starting a third world war.
Nor do we have to lie about our guy's atrocious behavior and look the other way.
Yeah, right. It's not like there's endless disturbing footage of his behavior around young women, is it? Or how about we consult the diary pages of his daughter?
1. Bad debate can't compare with indictments on 88 felony counts and 34 felony convictions.
Oh, really? Because even CNN's post-debate poll says otherwise.
You can't compare Biden's 90 minutes on the debate stage with Trump's 3 hours of standing back and standing by while his warriors beat the hell out of cops and vandalized our Capitol.
Oh, dear Lord, January 6th. This is like watching a lunatic animated by Liz Cheney and MSNBC trying to cram in as many failed narratives in under 10 minutes.
The truth is,
so far you have failed to say anything true except for Biden had a bad debate. That is the only objectively true thing you have said thus far. The felony count crap no sane person buys anyway.
Donald Trump crapped himself on the stage during the debate.
What? I have no idea where this is going, by the way.
He ate both Taco Bell and KFC right before, and then filled that adult diaper of his with something so potent. The fumes overwhelmed the president, causing Joe to lose some cognitive function.
I want you all to pause and recognize we're watching a 55-year-old plus man damn near pissing his eyes, making crap jokes, quite literally trying to emotionally manipulate us. How is this a thing and how did we get here?
The guy could barely open his eyes. That's what they'd be saying if the shoe were on the other foot.
You know, it says a lot about the stupidity of your audience if you're willing to say that to them, thinking this is some kind of an effective talking point.
And whether you think so or not, I guarantee you they wouldn't be throwing their felon to the wolves. Come November, Joe will never have to debate again.
That's because he will no longer be president, and probably will have lost the capacity to speak either way.
That's not the job. And if you're genuinely worried about him, take note of the people he surrounded himself with.
You mean the ones responsible for insane amounts of government spending, inflation, funds sent overseas for wars that ended up God knows where, and a border that's basically porous. Meanwhile, he's weaponizing the Justice Department to go after his political opposition. Oh yeah, what a great administration it has been.
They really are the best people.
For who? And what job, you dumbass?
None of whom have been fired by tweet.
That's because nobody trusts him with a phone. The ability of Biden to communicate with the world outside the intervention of his aides would literally give them all nightmares.
Been badmouthed by the president, sentenced to prison, or faced felony indictments. And unlike Trump, both Biden's vice president and cabinet continue to endorse him.
Yeah, that's called wanting to keep their jobs, you moron. Do you understand what incentives are?
How about this? How about we just stick with the guy who can admit defeat?
And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
You do realize that very same sentiment can apply to Trump as well, yes? I get the impression you didn't think that one through. Actually, I don't think you can think much at all.
Yeah, and you don't lie about getting knocked down. I know that's a low bar, but it's the difference between the peaceful transfer of power and MAGA warriors defecating in our Capitol while they hunt down Mike Pence, noose in hand.
My God, what I would give to make the right as base as these people make them out to be.
Joe left a comfortable retirement 4 years ago to rescue this country.
Come again?
Joe left a comfortable retirement 4 years ago to rescue this country.
From what? Name a single thing he's even improved.
He was handed the worst situation since FDR.
And FDR was an incompetent moron who massively expanded the power of the state. And his own Secretary of the Treasury, Henry Morgenthau, blasted his spending, lamenting the fact that it did nothing but increase the debt.
And turned it around in record time.
By doing what? And what are your metrics of the so-called success?
Do you really not remember how badly Trump handled the pandemic?
No, because the federal government had very little to do with that. It was left up to the individual states. It was only after Biden came in they tried to mandate the stupid thing. And then we ended up with more people dead under his watch. Something I will bear my bollocks you are not going to mention.
The one genuine crisis of his administration? He lied about the severity of the virus, telling us it would go away on its own by April.
Of which year? Where's your footage or claiming of any of this? Oh yeah, you don't have any. Much like you have no evidence that simply doing nothing and carrying on as normal wouldn't have been the saner response resulting in better outcomes.
Then he recommended horse dewormer.
Okay, this level of indoctrination is borderline requiring psychological evaluation. I actually have a hard time believing that people like this genuinely exist. Either because they can't possibly be that stupid or this evil.
Injecting disinfectant.
Even CNN post the damn debate debunked this, and yet here you are still peddling it. I'm going to be nice and assume it is because you were too busy crying into your pillow to watch any further, in between taking shots of soy.
And shining light inside the body.
Yeah, that would be ultraviolet blood irradiation. It was a medical procedure used in the 1940s and 50s before the introduction of antibiotics. Listen, pal, if you're savvy enough to make and upload a video, I imagine you're smart enough to do basic research. Or maybe you're just too damn lazy to think. Or perhaps you're unable to.
He destroyed our economy and oversaw 400,000 deaths.
It's beginning to look like you cherry-pick the work of the federal government when it suits your argument. And this would be beyond their control. But if you're going to use that metric, pray tell, how is Biden's recovery response compared to previous ones? And if Trump is so bad, how is he the favored chief executive for getting the economy back on track by over 20 points?
Yeah, Joe had a bad night on TV.
No, he's had a bad run as the puppet president of the U.S.
After passing more bipartisan legislation than any president in 50 years.
And passing legislation itself is not indicative of an objectively good accomplishment. To pull a favorite quote from Thomas Woods, there are two major parties today, the stupid party and the evil party. Once in a while, the two parties get together and do something that is both stupid and evil. It's called bipartisanship. Because for these dim-witted boomer types, all Republicans are bad. Until they side with the Democrats, that is, because they don't actually care about policy, all they care about is power.
After creating 15 million new jobs and counting.
Unemployment is actually up recently. A lot of that was just bounce-back jobs reopening the economy, and labor force participation rates are still down.
After bringing down inflation.
Okay, no, you are just evil. If you look at the video that I did on Short Fat Otaku, I pointed out there, the consumer price index took just 3 months to hit higher than Trump's and remained higher than Trump's for Biden's entire stint as president. He's being disingenuous. He's brought inflation down after it hit peaks not seen in 50 years, and yet it's still higher than his predecessor.
Funding infrastructure. Passing gun legislation.
Which means what? These are slogans. There's nothing of substance here.
Cutting the cost of insulin.
Again, CNN fact-checked this one as well.
And creating an economy that is the envy of the world.
Again, why is Trump favored on the economy by over 20 points then?
And all without a single mean tweet. If you want that to continue, find your inner Republican.
What? You're talking to Democrats. Why on earth are you telling them to find their inner Republican to vote for a Democrat? That doesn't make any bloody sense. Now, mind you, I've had to knock back a fair bit of whiskey to endure this much stupidity, but I would still find it challenging to comprehend any sense behind that statement stone cold bloody sober. Nom Creek and Wild Turkey 101 in case you were wondering. Oh, and by the way, to wrap this all up, because you will have noticed, this man has said absolutely nothing of value during this near 7-minute video. Nothing. There was no substance, no depth, jack freaking shit. I bring this all up because if you go to his video, you will find this dude responded to me, and his response is as hollow as this piece. Now granted, my initial response is rather confrontational, because I have seen this zealot-like coding. I know the machinery that I'm dealing with, and I know the input responses. Whereas myself, because I'm an objectively better person and I can spar with the trolls, because I happen to be one myself, I always ask them to present an argument if they happen to disagree with what I've just said. Oh yeah, well, my dad can beat up your dad. Perhaps instead of this childish comment, you can make an actual substantive critique, like grown-ups do. Why on earth would I do that considering you didn't do that during this entire damn video? Maybe it's because when pressed for substance, you don't have any. Let's test that hypothesis, shall we? So I said to him, here's no real criticism of Trump. It's completely hollow, as is his praise for Biden as well, mind you. And then I bashed his lackluster political acumen because, well, come on, look at this video. Look at this reply. And it's not going to get any better, by the way. So he goes off on this mad ramble, thinking he touched a nerve. Fat chance, sunshine. You're just a dull, mid-witted cliche. The fact that your type exists at all is the reason I'm a monarchist, because no one should ever listen to people like you. You have nothing to offer the political realm. Look at him, spouting off about how he used to work for Dennis Prager. Oh, big whoop. He met political representatives, his parents were interested in politics, and he saw Nixon resign. Good for you. Astonishing that all that 50 years of experience of interest, study and experience in the field couldn't give me a single damn answer to my question. All you did was thump your chest like a gorilla going, I'm older than you, I've experienced more. Okay, boomer. And that claim of satire is bollocks, by the way. If this was all satire, you'd have said so from the very beginning and told me not to take it seriously, using it now as a desperate pivot because he continues to vomit up nothing. Nor did I claim to be a master of anything, just smarter than you, because the bar is really low. I'm actually rather humble. If I'm in the presence of someone smarter than I am that knows more than I do, I simply listen. Dude, all you did was make unsupported assertions and give your opinion sans any facts. You gave me nothing to parry with beyond your appeal to authority, and your own authority at that. Come again? You failed to give a single substantive critique of anything. All you championed during this whole thing was job growth, lowered inflation, infrastructure, and bipartisanship. That's it. Job growth. You failed to mention which sector, who took the jobs, their pay grade, and nothing of labor force participation rates. Infrastructure, which again means what? No examples of why this matters at all. Inflation, still higher than the previous guy. Bipartisan legislation, not a single example thereof or why that is beneficial to anything. The rest of the BS got fact-checked, after the debate no less. As a matter of fact, aside from spouting off single words or a sentence, you have failed to mention even a single damn thing that Biden has accomplished in 3.5 years. Also, nothing to parry with beyond your appeal to authority and your own authority at that. That's literally what you just did. Your only reply was running your mouth like a skittish weasel appealing to the authority of your own pathetic experience, all of which has failed to manifest anything except the ramblings of someone whose face is glued to CNN. In your youth, you clearly imagine yourself superior to anyone and everyone. No, just you. It's rather ironic you tout age and experience as valuable assets because you too, much like the man you simp for, continue to prove when it comes to politics, age and experience doesn't exactly count for much either. Oh, and one last thing. If you happen to see this, feel free to make a video responding to this. You have my blessing to use it. And in case the accent wasn't a dead giveaway already, I am not American. I am not a Republican, nor a Trump supporter. I'm South African and a monarchist. So let's see if you can produce anything of substance by your cheap MAGA smears. Or maybe you can't. Maybe being the digital manifestation of the grumpy old man yelling from the porch is the only arrow you got. I look forward to your reply. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.